Hi, Miss Sinclair. It's Jenna Zwickl from your first period. I'm so sorry that this has taken me so long to get to you. It's just I've had a little bit of a difficult time trying to attach a document to send. It's just been every time I've tried to email it to you, the file, my email says the file is too big. You can't attach it. So I'm hoping this one goes through. So I have my brain. So I did ramen noodles as my structure, and it has height to it, so you can see it's 3D. So this is the cerebral cortex, the blue one. The corpus callosum is the pale one. The thalamus is the orange one. The hypothalamus is the yellow one. The pituitary gland is the pink one. The brainstem is the black part. The spinal cord is this purple part. The cerebellum is this part, and the hippocampus is the green part in the middle. So then at the bottom I have attached essentially a key, and each one is the color of corresponding. So the cerebral cortex is blue, and the cerebral cortex is blue here. So now I would present it saying this. So the cerebral cortex controls speech, decision making, and making thoughts. So I'm explaining it to a 10-year-old, right? So the idea is that the cerebral cortex controls the main part of how you act. And then next is the corpus callosum. It sends messages to each part of the brain. So it would send information from the spinal cord and the brainstem to the cerebral cortex so it can make a decision. Then the thalamus, it tells the cerebral cortex what's happening on the outside of the body. So it's receiving information it's receiving information from what's happening on the outside. So if someone pinched you, the thalamus is receiving that pain and telling your cerebral cortex what happened. And then the pituitary gland controls the body's hormones so if you don't know what hormones means, it's the chemicals that make stuff happen in your brain and the rest of your body. So it controls how much you grow and releases all that kind of stuff. The hypothalamus tells the pituitary gland what to do and when to do it. So technically the pituitary gland belongs to the endocrine system of your body, and not the nervous system. So the hypothalamus is what links the two. So the hypothalamus is receiving all the information from the brain and telling the pituitary gland what to do. The hippocampus is the GPS of the brain. It lets you understand how big things are and where they are by just imagining it. So if you're imagining your bedroom, you can see where your bed is and where your desk is and where your dresser is, and you can imagine how much space is in between all of it. Then we have the brainstem right here. The brainstem, it directs messages from the rest of the body into the brain, and it controls things you don't have to think about, like your heartbeat. So we call those involuntary actions. So it'd be how fast your heart is beating, you don't have control over that. How you digest food, you don't have control over that, and stuff like that. But your breathing, that would be a voluntary action, but also involuntary, because when you sleep you don't have to think about it, but when you're awake you can decide to hold your breath and stuff. The cerebellum, right there, the red part, controls things you do think about, how you sit and speak. So I said, those are the voluntary actions. So if I decided to wave my hand across the screen, that's the voluntary action that my cerebellum has controlled. And then the spinal cord takes messages and directs them to the proper place. So in your body you have lots of little wires running throughout, and they all lead to the spinal cord right here. And so essentially your spinal cord will take those messages that come from the wires in your body and direct them to where they need to go in the brain, and then the brain will send signals back to through the spinal cord and through the rest of the body to make things happen. So let's say you touch something really hot with your hand. The nerves in your hand would shoot the message all the way back up through the spinal cord into the cerebellum and say, hey, that's super hot, you need to move your hand. And the cerebellum would be like, okay, move the hand. So then it would go back through to your hand and say, ouch, and you would move it. Okay, and then the last part is I included these structures because they are the main parts of the brain, but are also the most easy parts to understand from a child's perspective. So then I'm just going to show you my like list. I color coded it, I hope you can see, and then my thing. Alright, thank you, Mr. Claire.